What? This is what happens when you call the cops. Say what? This is what happens when you call the cops. You get your rights violated or you all get shot.
Open up, Colorado. It's 420. Time to grind and burn.
This is not your son's stoner show.
Welcome to the Grind and Burn, a podcast from the Cannabis Community Project. I am Brainstorm, once again bringing you your weekly podcast about the business side of cannabis from the Dank Studios at 3835 Elm Street, Denver, Colorado, while living the lifestyle. All right. Are you ready?
3,
Are you ready?
2, 1.
Welcome back, Cannapreneurs. I'm grateful to be back for another week, rounding out the year, coming up on Thanksgiving. So much going on. I'm reflecting. I'm thinking about the future. This feels like a good time of year. I love Thanksgiving. Out of all the holidays, I would say Thanksgiving is probably my best time of year, and holiday just feels good. Reminds me of that warm feeling. And you don't have to worry about stupid gifts like Christmas. Christmas is kind of like Thanksgiving, but with all the extra added stress and cost of this gift exchange thing. That's what I dislike most about Christmas. But for the holidays, you are obligated to do gifts, so let me encourage you to please stop by the CCP store on the Cannabis Community Project website. Check out our sponsors, some of the products we have, some cool stuff. It's all reasonably priced, $5, $10, $20, $30 type stuff. Very cool stuff for friends and family and stocking stuffers. Help us out this year. Keep us going at the CannabisCommunityProject.com store, where you'll find products like Canna Relief. Hey, this is a cool product that I want to tell you about. And I want to tell you about it as an unpaid sponsor because this is the only product on my store that I am promoting unpaid. They do not give me any money, and we do not have any type of sponsorship agreement worked out. They have given me sample products. That's how I know how the product works, and I've used it, and I've given it to my friends and family. But I am not paid to say this, but I believe so much in what they're doing because of the direct effects I have seen with myself, my wife, and a couple friends using it that I want to tell you about it because they're doing an Indiegogo campaign, raising some money, trying to get their product and company bigger and better and off the ground. Canna Relief is this cool product that's a CBD-based product that can be sold compliantly in all 50 states legally, but it has a strong CBD-based kick along with 7-8 proprietary ingredients that they have put together a cocktail called Canna Relief, and their Indiegogo is for Canna Relief AM. So I want to encourage you to look them up, crowdfunding some money here. Go to Indiegogo.com, check out Canna Relief. It's a product that if you're sick and you're feeling physically down, you can take it and it'll make you feel better. My wife had a killer headache. She was studying for her midterm exams. She never consumes anything from a cannabis standpoint. Had a killer headache, like the type that you have to lay down and pull the cold pack on your head for. She took this product and within 15-20 minutes it was gone. She was back in the book studying. I've had a couple friends who are suffering from some more severe ailments who are experimenting with it, who have given me very positive results. I took it when I was sick. And you know what? This isn't even the first use of the product. The primary use is intended for people who are having a THC overuse or an overdose, as I talked about last time. So you take it and it instantly brings down that peak of the THC. So this would be great for emergency rooms and parties and those who sell edibles and where there's dabs being consumed by people for the first time. But there's so many uses from a health standpoint that I want to promote it, and I'm not getting paid to do it, but I want you to check it out. So go to their website at cannasafety.com, Google Canna Relief, go to Indiegogo, type in Canna, C-A-N-N Relief. You'll find it there. This is a cool product. Try it out. All right. So speaking of campaigns and promoting and, everything else in line with what I'm doing on the project here with the Grind and Burn being a business focused show and looking at businesses and products and helping people become entrepreneurs, hence the Cannapreneur term. I want to promote myself just a little bit because I want to make sure you understand what this community project is about. I'm here to help you get your project off the ground. You remember Scoop, who does more technical stuff, and he's behind the equipment and a lot of the infrastructure of sound engineering? Scoop and I are putting together our years of podcast experience. We're putting together our studios. He has one on one side of town. I have one on the other. We're putting together our equipment. We're teaming up so we can bring your show that you're going to do out into the world. We want to help produce your podcast. Audio, video. Mostly audio is how we do it, and there's reasons for that, but we also have video experience. But we want to produce your podcast, show you how to put together your show, get it on a network, and if it's good enough, I'll bring it on my network because I'm expanding my network. You've seen, right? We have 3 shows now. Beyond Sanity, the Cannabis Factor, and the Grind and Burn right here. So under the Network Cannabis Community Project, we have 3 shows. I want to expand this thing out into 6, 9, 12 shows, but I don't just want to accept anybody. There's only so many resources, so much bandwidth, right? So much attention span. So I want to make sure to pick the best of the best, curate the best shows, put the production quality into it, and really make these shows come to life and be of high quality, all right? We know what we're doing here, so let us help you. Let us show you how to put together a podcast. And if it's a good enough idea, we can make it work, and we can sell sponsorship, and we can get money, and we can put together an audience, and we can really make something positive come out of media production. I mean, currently we don't have any unique ideas about a patient show. We don't have any real political shows. We don't really have any focused on grower shows. Maybe we could put together a reality style behind the scenes type show at the Dank Dispensary. Maybe a scripted show. There's so much potential that we can do, and we can stay right here niched in on the, or was I supposed to say niche or niche? I don't know. No, I don't care. So let's focus. Let's focus. That's what we're about. We're here to help you get your show out there. Who knows where it can go? If you got something interesting, unique, contact me at contact@cannabiscommunityproject.com or me personally at brainstorm@cannabiscommunityproject.com. I'll help develop your ideas. Maybe that can be your resolution for the new year or what you take a hold of in 2017, right? I mean, 3 years ago when I started this show, I didn't really think 3 years into the future. I was thinking months, and I had no idea what to expect, and the expectations I thought I had were completely wrong. But now here I am, almost to the date 3 years later, and here you are with me, still holding on. Thank you, Cannapreneurs. That will be my thanks for Thanksgiving this year, is thanking you for allowing me to hang on. How many times did I want to quit? How many shows did I think were failures and wanted to not go on anymore, putting in free hours into something that was going nowhere? How many times did I get hooked up with people in partnership thinking something was going to happen and it fell through and nothing? But you keep trucking forward by yourself, keep moving along, and then little by little, the mass starts to grow. And the mass attracts the mass. And that mass creates a little bit of weight, which gives you a little bit more traction, and that traction accelerates where you're going. And then before you know it, you look back and go, oh my God, 3 years have passed, and look what I have built. Look where I am today. No, it's not ultimately where I want to end up, and time frames don't matter anymore. I see the numbers. They're growing. They're growing every week. I can see people from around the world, around the country listening in. I can see people sharing and leaving comments, and that's what keeps me going. And that's what I'm thankful for. For you hanging out there with me, listening in, participating, being part of this community, and hopefully inspiring yourself to get up and do something that contributes to your community. So as I reflect upon the past years and look at my upcoming future, I want to work to better myself, right? That's the goal. Keep bettering yourself. Keep bettering what you do. I keep thinking about the movie I saw on Netflix about the guy who makes sushi. He's like 90-some years old, and he's been making sushi his whole life. He started as a kid doing all the grunt work and worked his way up, and now is this grand master of sushi making that almost blindfolded can make it with such perfection. But yet how he still puts in the effort every time to perfect it. and how the lifelong journey keeps going. That's what we're striving for, right? To make it better amongst ourselves, amongst others. So I've said it before, I'm an Aikidoka. I practice the art of Aikido, the art of Shinshin Tuitsu Aikido, the mind and body unification of movement together. We live by a couple rules. It's not a religion, but you could almost say it is in the sense of following principles of how to live life, how to treat others, how to live with yourself, along with physical actions that unify those two things together as we navigate our way through the universe. So there's some rules of daily living, of life, that we keep in mind as we practice the art of Aikido, which is unification or the harmonizing with the universe. So they say try to keep a universal mind, right? Keep a universal mind. Now, I'm not going to go into long rants and lectures about what each one means, but I would just like to introduce these concepts. So however you interpret that or however you would like to research it, keep a universal mind. Love all creation. Be grateful. Do good in secret. Have merciful eyes and a gentle body. Be forgiving and big-hearted. Think deep and judge well. Be calm and determined. Be positive and vigorous and persevere. Keep these all at one point throughout your day. Keep your weight under your side, your feet below you, and your head on straight. And keep moving forward. And you too, hopefully, can be the center of your universe, living in peace and harmony, and pursuing your dream, whatever that may be. And that's a little bit of what we talk about this week with this week's guest, Prescott. He's a little bit of everything and has done a little bit of everything. He gives us the insight of what it's like to be a soldier, a federal agent, a police officer, a cannapreneur. He gives us his story, his transition of how you go from one side of the scale to the other, live combat, military missions, the after effects. Where does cannabis play a role in his life and so many others? Listen to his ideas about what he's going to put together here in Colorado and join us on that conversation this week. But before we do that, let's quickly step back to last week's short-term memory flashback relapse. Do you remember that conversation? Who was it with? That's why we do this, so we don't forget everything we learned from week to week. So let's quickly take a few minutes now to listen to Jay from Dank, our dispensary owner here in Colorado, who gives us the insight to what's going on behind the scenes. Listen to a couple minutes now. Like, share, comment, as always. And then join us for this week's conversation with Prescott from WAR, the creator of VOA, Violence of Action. Grind and burn, cannapreneurs. Grind and burn.
Hey, how we doing? This is Jay Griffin from Dank, Colorado. Welcome to the Grind and Burn Show. It is going to be pretty cool. We have a group called Someday K that's doing the artwork in that space. And we also have a 2,000 square foot event space that's associated with DCG and that patio. And it allows for industry events and out of cannabis industry events, certainly, to rent this space for whatever purpose. Leaf Buyer had a promotion to where they were generating votes for dispensaries and different categories. We were voted best of the best in the flower category, and that really means a lot. We're not affiliated with Leaf Buyer. We're not in their program, and so for the members of Leaf Buyer to vote Dank as one of the top in the state is very meaningful. And let's face it, if you're voted top in the state, then it's likely you're right up there with the top dispensaries in the nation too, because Colorado is leading the nation. And there's I see proof of that all the time. Right. Other states are just now exploring that, and so they're looking at Colorado for continued progression, looking at our regulating code as the code that has been successful, and so they're modeling it after our code in many times. So yeah, your regulatory podcast will be really interesting. I think there's always a lot of questions in the industry as far as the finer details of the business, as far as legal measures. Of more immediate nature are the changes in the regulated laws that take place at the beginning of October and the beginning of November, one of which is changes in labeling requirements by the Marijuana Enforcement Division. One of the items they now required is a red diamond with the letters THC and an exclamation point to be identified not only on the label, but on the product itself. It's an edible. Well, we know we have to stay competitive out there, and we're always evaluating our price list and making adjustments on that. And generally, we'll base it off of what we are buying an equivalent wholesale product for.
Right.
But in order to match our quality that we grow here, we have a price point we're comfortable with, and so far so good on that sense.
Do you think business will change regardless of who is elected president?
Oh yeah, nationwide it will have a big effect.
I feel like a to-be-continued drama at the end of a Sunday night miniseries, right?
Yeah, that's very exciting. Get out there and vote, right? The best way to get a hold of me is on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. You can find me at jgriffin1969.
Cool, man. I appreciate it. Brandon Bowen. How long have you been listening to the show? Long enough to know that it's your show, and all you got to do to be on it is just reach out to us at cannabiscommunityproject.com or email brainstorm at cannabiscommunityproject.com. So let it fly. Go ahead.
What? There's nothing to let fly.
To record.
Oh no, we need to come record and hang out with you and make some music.
Yeah, go ahead and make the music.
He's not here.
No, but
just let it out. I'm a fictional stoner. Fictional stoner. Yeah.
Keep going with it. Fictional stoner.
No, functional.
Functional.
That's the word.
Go ahead.
I'm a functional stoner.
Functional, fictional.
I've got time left to work. I am not a blubber, getting down on my worth. I'm a functional stoner. I don't know. Just to put me on the spot.
Hey, Cannapreneurs, let me take a second just to tell you about Cushly Organic Products. Their company puts out products that are used in hospitals, healthcare facilities, clinics, and homes throughout the United States and beyond. So Cushly has invented this very unique product that works like none other. I use it myself, and many of my close friends and family use it. What it does is it eliminates odor. It doesn't mask it. It's not a perfume. It's not a cologne. It eliminates it. And it's organic and it's non-toxic. And Cushly is one of the best. www.cushly.com. Also find them on Facebook and other social media under the same name. Cushly Organic Products. Well, there you go.
Wanna know my favorite color of the rainbow? There's only one for me. The only color in the world that makes my day go.
Have you heard about Nebraska's Attorney General wanting to sue Colorado now?
Oh,
This guy is so arrogant, he thinks he can nullify the votes of people not only in Nebraska, but in other states now. That's the arrogance of the drug wars. This guy still thinks cannabis is a dangerous drug. I've been coast to coast with this movement. I've yet to meet the person who uses cannabis and no other drug and is having a problem with it. Well, they call Nebraska a flyover state. There's never been more of a need for it than now, I suppose.
I guess this is a good use for drones, right? As you're driving through these states, what if you just throw your drone up in the air and then have it hover above you like 500 feet, just out of visible eyesight, but still pretty low? You know, fly like a half mile behind you.
Scope for cops.
Or scope for cops, that too. Or do both. Have one in front scope. Because even if you see the cop, you still have to keep going. So eventually you're going to want to depart with your product. So just have it fly above you 300 feet in the air and then drive through the state. And if you get pulled over, let them search your car, go on your way. And then as soon as you're out of the state, have your drone land on the ground in front of you and you're on your way. Well, there you go.
I am green. Army, 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 army.
That's a new soldier and the Keith Army.
Joseph Star Town, I set this place on fire. Burn it down entirely. Seneca T will make a sound expired. Brimstone, thunder, and lightning. Herbal cure, I set this place on fire. Burn it down entirely. GG Pop will make anyone expire. Brimstone, thunder, and lightning. Essential extracts, both more shots than Neymar. And drop bombs, stay palm. Midi cars, double plate arm. Babylon a figure stay farm. Kill arthritis and cancer. And slaughter corruption. Extract artists a marksman. With the THC in a them eye. T play music for the soldiers. For the youth they carry books and carry folders. And for the woman them him don't stop show love. Nicotine I turn up every program. Flashy me lots, here come the rats. Fire away gash, hit them a catch. No me not stop until Babylon crash. Them head full of gas so them pass with the march. Snap on my fingers, them running a flash. Anything but it clean at the trash. Dust to dust and ash to ash. Joseph Star Town, I set this place on fire. Burn it down entirely. Seneca T will make a sound expire. Brimstone, thunder, and lightning. Herbal cure, I set this place on fire. Burn it down entirely. GG Pop will make anyone expire. Brimstone, thunder, and lightning. Nicotine, step forward. You must step on Babylon. Tell them you want. We moving forward. Joseph Star Town, I set this place on fire. Burn it down entirely. Seneca T will make a sound expire. Brimstone, thunder, and lightning. Herbal cure, set this place on fire. Burn it down entirely. GG Pop will make anyone expire. Brimstone, thunder, and lightning. Set this place on fire.
My name is Preston Crawford. I am founder and owner of WAR, which is Warriors in Recovery. I am a 501c3, a nonprofit. My other business partners are So Fast LLC, which is here in Colorado, and Hip to Be Hemp. Jeff Pat Adams would be with So Fast. Armando Ramos would be with Hip to Be Hemp. They both have websites. We don't have a website right now with the 501c3. We've been working on some things together, the three organizations that we're working with. And all through these years that we've been working together, we've finally collaborated, and we ended up here with doing advocacy for not only just veterans, but for cannabis and hemp and, you know, the whole industry, water, where it's going and what it's all about. So we came to a conglomerate, us three, that this is a great place to start here in Colorado. Why not? Yeah. You guys have it right. Us three see visionaries of the future in this business, and we know it's going to bounce to California next, because Colorado, you're getting influx right now of everybody just coming here. But you don't have the tourism in California. So California says, oh, wait a minute. We're losing all this money to Colorado. So they're going to open up their gates. So that's, you know, it's going to be another floodgate, because look how long they have been doing it in Colorado.
I think the last report I heard from last year, so it's already a year outdated, was over 200,000 had entered the state from the 14 to 15 year. So from 15 to 16, we've yet to have the full reports of what the influx of residents coming into the state, not just tourism, but there was over 200 residents entering the Colorado, mostly Denver, surrounding Denver metro area, but a lot of growing cities here in Colorado. So would you say that the core of your business organization is a for vets type organization?
No, not at all. Okay. I mean, you know, because we're talking about $1 billion, $1 trillion industry here.
Yeah.
All right. So we want to do good things with all these monies, you know, instead of like piling it to the sky. You know, we don't want to do all that. We want to give back. And a lot of those programs, if you sit here and can get those people on the feet, well, it's we're looking at an entrepreneurship that you're bringing them come into. Learn, teach the teacher type thing. That's what we do in the military, is learn the learner. That's how you always learn. So if we've got a template already in a company that what we're saying is we've got quality assurance with Armando Ramos, with Hip to Be Hemp. He has 2 medical patents with the FDA. He's a Lean Six Sigma black belt. He's published. Okay, there's your quality assurance. That's
now, are those part of this organization, or are those his own independent projects?
We're all 3 independent, but we're partnered up with each other because at the end of the day, we're all veterans. Okay, pretty much special operations. What we have is a vision over here, but we also are in the industry as well. Not everybody can be helped. You have to want to help yourself. We see those that actually we could bring into the business and mentor to whatever aspect it be, whether it's the security, whether it's, it's kind of funny how the industry works. But I came on LinkedIn today, and I know at this point I've spent so much time in the industry, I would kind of want things done for me. And I advertise for a pod, a self-sustaining pod that's enclosed, that can have multiple components on it as it goes, but at first it could be composed of is a living quarters.
That's the core of your business.
Somewhat.
All right, we're chipping away here.
It's all over the place.
We're getting closer.
We're all over the place, all right? What you say, my business is, my 501c3 was that I'm an advocate for weed. I am, for cannabis. Because I sat here 5 years ago when I formed my business, and I was on all these VA drugs. I was all over the place. This journey with me believing in cannabis has cost me several family relationships. It's just unreal the difference when you go from one side of the United States to the other, because when I go back to South Carolina and the Bible Belt, everything's hidden there. It's not out in the open.
Right.
So it's just like, wow. But, at least when you come out here, people are more themselves. They're more open to more things, and that's just the way we see it right now. But when I was with the VA, I kind of drifted a little bit. I do that. That's from being hit so many times in the head, whether it be helicopter crashes, MMA, or whatever.
Well, I want to get into your military background. I want to get into the transition from, I assume you were not a user prior to the 5-year event, so I want to get into the transition. But before we do that, if we could just pick one word to say, the essence of my business is this.
Peace.
Okay.
Peace. There you go. Peace.
How do you sell peace? How do you make a living with peace?
Yeah. How do you do that, right? Well, when you got back to that, I was here in South Carolina. I was running, I think, 3 crews on construction. I was running myself ragged. I was in college. I had a baby, and I'm running 3 dojos at the time, a private one and 2 big ones. And man, I was just all over the place.
What styles?
Well, my style is the military lines, which is the special forces. Well, I actually have VOA, which I created. If you know anything about Bruce Lee.
Oh, yes.
JKD,
yes.
Jeet Kune Do. So my buddies can never believe is I trademark VOA, which is violence of action, which in the military, that's all we talk about is violence of action, violence of action.
I remember seeing that on your profile and thought it was needed an explanation.
Violence of action. Well, what it was is what I did with my martial arts is I drew from the military with the spear system, which is kind of like you don't teach civilians, even law enforcement.
The spear, like a jab spear?
No,
what do you mean?
Spear system. What it is,
it's an acronym.
It's linear incapacitation, something like that, neuro. But what it was is Ron Don DeVito was a Marine, and he developed this system, which is a quick kill system. It's nothing more to it, but it's a self-defense quick kill. This is why
it's not a fighting system; it's a kill system.
Right. It's 7 moves. Okay, because it's anybody that's been in martial arts or anything, they can tell you anything about muscle memory, whether it be shooting, martial arts, or everything. You have to do a movement over 5,000 times for it to become muscle memory. Like a lot of my students, I would sit here and say, all right, here's the thing, when I was fighting, and a lot of times you have to retrain somebody's brain, but I said, here's the reason between the 5,000 reps. I'm like, you can eat with a spoon, right? And they're like, yep. And I'm like, well, you can wipe your ass too, right? And they're like, yep. And I'm like, you can do that in the dark, right? And they're like, yeah. I said, but when you're a baby, you couldn't do that, right? And they're like, right. I said, it's muscle memory. It takes over those 5,000 reps for it to become muscle memory. So what I did is I took a little bit of Bruce Lee, JKD, his Jeet Kune Do. I took the spear system, and I took jiu-jitsu, which when I was in service, when I was in Ranger Battalion, 3rd Ranger Battalion, we had the Gracies come in, and I was purple belted in jiu-jitsu. And I took all these styles, and then I actually had started taking from these other guys in combat jiu-jitsu. And one of the guys' name is Ken Landrum, the other guy's Billy Cockfield. But Ken Landrum had actually taken combat jiu-jitsu from one of the actually Japanese combat jiu-jitsu guys over in Japan, because that's what he does is he travels. I think he's in Saudi Arabia. He's teacher by
Just
day.
full-time martial art training in various countries and styles. And
Right. And he was, because that's unheard of for a white eye to be, that's what they call you.
Right.
You're white-eyed. Why are you training this
Are you saying wide or white?
White-eye. I don't know. White-eye, white-eye, whatever.
Guaylo, the round eye.
Yeah, get him out of here. We don't want to wait. He doesn't know this. No, get him out. But so we were, I was blessed to have those two guys as my teachers. But see, I came in their dojo very humble with a white belt, from the beginning. Here I am with this special ops background, air marshal, all this stuff, Army Ranger. And I got in their class and I was teaching, some of my styles and stuff. And they're like, whoa, you got to quit coming in here and doing this and doing this. And I went from a white belt to a Yodan, which is 3rd or 4th degree black belt overnight, pretty much overnight, like 2 months or so. And they were just like, hey, you're teaching our classes. You're far more advanced. This is combat jiu-jitsu. Yeah. And what combat jiu-jitsu means is moves toward finishing the objective, because combat jiu-jitsu is all about, it's not, you don't do tournament because you're not teaching, to pull blows or anything like that. You're teaching to follow through and,
even in a UFC setting where you're not necessarily pulling blows, you're still not trying to kill a guy.
Well, I mean, when you're trying, actually, I've been in combat and all this other stuff, and we're primal, okay? Like I said, I don't teach, traditional, like when I'm talking about a target, I have to sit here and tell you, I don't teach to hit the face because whatever. This is a hard surface. Hardest surface on the body right here. I've had many people break their hand on top of my head.
And small.
Right.
And it moves.
Right here. You cut these off right here. Yeah. Guess what? You cut blood off to the head. It goes out.
So, right? Is this the core of your business, teaching security and fighting and protection?
Actually, that's more on Jeff's side with the So Fast. Okay. When we go to the So Fast on that's what we're doing there. We're teaching military, law enforcement, civilians, every type on that aspect over there. And you got Armando over here with Hip to Be Hemp. Like I said, we're all kind of three on line with each other and can almost do each other's jobs. Like I can do pretty much Armando. I mean, me and Armando can work together. I'm not as good as he is, and I can work with Jeff. And in that aspect, I'm gonna say I'd like to say, you know what I mean? We're two meat eaters. We're gonna sit here and argue over all day who's the best. But at the end of the day, it's like, oh well, one of us is gonna kill the other one, but we like each other too much. So
Let me ask it like this: what do you do in exchange for money to make a living? What is the service or product you're engaged in that actually generates some form of revenue for support and living? What is that product or business?
That product is nothing at this point.
Okay.
It's nothing at this point. I have not made one dime.
So we're formulating concepts. We're putting together ideas. Okay.
Putting together the base for a business.
Now I got you.
All out of it because, see, I don't want to be a nonprofit that comes out here and begs.
Okay.
I don't. I want to sit here and say, guess what? I need 10,000 of this egg, and I'd like to be your business partner. What about that? I need 5,000 of this. I'd like to be your business partner. What about that? I don't want to sit here and say, hey, how about a donation? How about a handout?
You want to present a variety of skills and ideas and concepts you're working on and see who takes interest.
On a larger scale, yes.
Okay.
But when you talk about a smaller scale, let's say I need some windmills.
Like standard generate air-blown windmills.
I need some windmills. I need some solar. I need these various types that help the growing industry, with cannabis.
Okay.
Or hemp.
So you're looking at growing. So that's one of the aspects of
what our aspect of growing is simple. Nowadays, here we go. Put it on the machine. Let the machine do the nutrients. Let the machine do everything for you. Keep eyes on the machine. Alarm goes off, something's wrong. You
want to set up an automated grow process.
Right.
Okay.
On a larger scale, yes.
All right.
Right. Because like I said, when we represent the security over here, I'm the nonprofit side. And when we have the quality assurance side, there you go for the whole business.
You're talking about
it's pretty much simplified at this point.
Physical security, right? Like on-premise security guarding type stuff.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, definitely an issue here in Colorado. This last year, we've had a couple big incidences. And I think in general, as you see this place,
I've been on the ground here. It doesn't take me long to acclimate to a place. And I see that people are coming in for jobs, thinking they're just going to go on a grow job out here. And they're getting robbed right away because it's not working out for them. And it's like that in every state. It's the good old boy system. But now their way's not working anymore because you've got big players coming in here where you need some big boys for your security. And we are the big boys. We've done it all around the world. And so why can't we do it here in the United States? Because we know how to do it right. Have the liaisons, because like a lot of us are, most of us are retired law enforcement and retired federal agents as well. So that kind of brings both worlds
You're a
together.
retired federal agent?
I am.
Oh, okay.
I'm retired after 9/11. Well, I pretty much died in Nigeria.
9/11? Can I ask how old you are?
45.
Okay. You look about 35.
Well, it's the cannabis and good water and good living. Like I said, I spent a lot of time in this industry, so it's very stressful when you deal with that. But like I said, when you ask me what am I doing now, I'm kind of just sitting back.
I was expecting you to say you were 25, and I was going to go, oh, geez, kind of looks like he's 35. Because when I see people who are in intense military situations, they tend to age.
Right.
And usually not like in a good, Burt Lancaster type way.
Right.
Yeah. So
I know a lot
curious,
of guys who have aged that, and you know what it takes? It really takes this to everybody. You know what I mean? It takes the bird to everybody and saying, guess what? I'm going to take care of me.
Yeah.
Because if I don't take care of me, how am I going to take care of anybody else?
Well, let's find out about you. Where do you come from? Where were you born?
Born in South Carolina.
Okay, so that explains the accent.
It does.
Okay.
And I was born there, and at 17, I couldn't wait to get out. I couldn't wait to get out of school. It was boring as hell. I was I was into sports, football, and all this, but when it come to it, school just wasn't for me.
Right.
And I was gnawing at the bat. I want to go in the military. If I couldn't, I was a pretty small guy.
South Carolina is the Army base, right? Or is Marine base?
Well, no, South Carolina, you just got, you go in
Where's
there.
Fort Bragg at?
Fort Bragg?
Yeah,
North Carolina.
That's North Carolina.
That's one of my homes,
I
right
thought
there.
it was a Carolina.
It is. It's in North Carolina.
Yeah.
So
Bragg, I guess that wouldn't be the proper name.
No.
It might have felt like that.
Fort
though.
Bragg, right. Yeah, so it's Fort Bragg. That was one of my duty stations. But when I first went in, it was in 1989, and I went in the Navy.
Oh.
I went in to be a SEAL, but a lot of crap happened.
Yeah.
I was just a troublesome kid. I was fighting all the time at drop of a dime and all that stuff. So I did my 4 years in the Navy. I was in Desert Storm, Desert Shield, went to Operation Restore Hope in Somalia.
What type of job were you doing?
I was a gunner's mate. So basically I was on the back of the ship with a big gun, but when we went in the Gulf, we would actually help the GMMs, which are gunner's mate missiles, because that's what we were doing, is launching a lot of missiles.
So you were loading full-size projectiles or type gunning?
A little bit of everything.
A little bit
if
of
you're
everything.
a gunner's mate, you were like, you dealt with small arms all the way up to 50 cals to 30 millimeter cannons to Sea Whizzes, the Gatling guns to
They're like 5,000 per minute type stuff.
Exactly, to the 5-inch 54. And then
That can't be efficient, right?
Yeah, well, okay, yeah, I have those things. And they're titanium, too. I mean, they're coming and they're going through anything,
Jeez.
Yeah, they're tearing stuff up. Body armor is not going to help you. It's going through titanium bullets.
So you went through the military. You did 4 years in the Navy.
4 years in the Navy. Then in 1993, I had a plan. I said, I got a 4-year plan. I said, you know what? I'm going to go to college, and I'm going back into service, and I'm going to go special ops. But, I'm going to figure it out. So during that period, I became a cop. I had to make money. I had to make money some kind of way. So I became a cop, and I was so good at it, I guess because of my past, but I'm just kidding.
I'm not sure what that means, being good at a police officer.
You know what I mean? I was just...
There might be some difference of definitions there.
Right. There should be. But they actually moved me over to detective in like 18 months.
Oh, wow.
Right. So, and here I am, and I didn't want that. Here I am wanting to go to college.
But isn't that the prestige? Isn't that the...
No, not if you're doing it right.
That's the black belt, right?
No, it's not. No, if you're doing it right, you're not. I got in that job. I couldn't go to college anymore.
You're locked in 50 hours a week plus.
Right, because you just care too much. If you're out here trying to do your job, you care too much, you're killing yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, you are really carrying yourself, and you're caring too much.
What type of detective?
Man, I did everything. Murder. I saw a lot of, children, just, I don't know, you name it. I worked it. I worked anything. It was like a 40,000 town, you know what I mean?
Okay,
so we had, when I was
smaller,
there, it was a little smaller, so I think we had, I think at the time we had either 5 or 6 detectives. We had to actually work a whole week where you would come in on second shift, only one detective. So if anything happened, during that time period on second, you were on call too. You had the night shift. And if you went in, it didn't matter if it was child molestation, a burglary, a murder.
It's your case. If it happened on your clock.
And then the rest of the detectives come in. Now, we all had our specialty. My specialty was murder. I worked most of the murders and missing persons. I had another guy that was in detectives. He did, during the day, most white-collar crimes. I worked with a female. Her name was was Lancy. I think she's still in law enforcement, and she did most of child crimes because most of the time females deal with that a lot better because when we come in as men, we get emotional toward what somebody's done toward a child, and it doesn't kind of like settle well with us. So that's probably why there's a lot of drinking involved in law enforcement, trying to drown.
I've seen Law and
those.
Order Special Victims Unit. I know what's going on.
I don't watch that stuff because I've lived it. You know, I don't try to watch that stuff.
I got the inside scoop. I know.
But here I was sitting at 3 years, okay, and I've worked several murders, several just down there, and I didn't even like to go to the other side of the tracks and hand out tickets. I mean, you know, there's so much other shit going on.
As we refer to chicken shit tickets.
Hide
behind the bush and get the guy going 5 mile over the limit.
Or sit at the bar and watch the car pull out. Have you been drinking?
Right.
No. No, I've been sitting in the bar for 5 hours. I haven't been drinking at all, Ossifer. You know, I mean, I just really couldn't get into that. When I saw other people doing it, I'd actually get on to them. I'm like, look, there's so much shit going on out here.
Yeah.
Why do you have to do that? I mean, there's so much going on out here. Put your cape on and go do something that actually...
Is it pure numbers, though? If there's only 5 detectives, we assume then there's a few hundred just uniform officers.
Oh, no. They wasn't in this town. I think, you know, they beefed up now, you know, because the town's grown a little bit, and all this money into Homeland Security.
But in the sense of investigating crime, the detectives are the official investigators, right?
Oh, yeah.
So if you're not a detective, there's not much to do but just wait to write tickets or wait to participate.
Oh, Lord, no. No, good Lord. I mean, yes, at the time I was a police officer was during we had a huge influx of crack. I mean, the zombies were walking around. I mean, continuously. And the heroin, it came a little bit, but
this was late 80s, you said.
Late 80s, early 90s. But the crack was ridiculous. All you had to do was get out of your car and you'd catch somebody breaking into something. You'd catch a crack deal on a trail. Right. Okay, you're out there by yourself. Right. All right. You got a gun, you got some mace spray, you got a radio to
There was more
help.
Active crime going on that a police officer could and would be engaged in because of just the abundance of the crack epidemic type thing.
Yes, I mean there was abundance of it because I remember there was 2 streets. I remember one was Gage Street. Oh, don't go down there, and the other was not Millway, but whatever the name of the street was. But literally, I could sit here with my bright lights on, and they're just just.
So that was enough for you.
House.
That kind of blew you out of the water, as they say. That
I mean, it was just the whole thing. I worked one robbery one night, and this was in uniform. A guy robbed 7-Eleven. Okay, all right. He had smoked $80 worth of crack on credit. Went to the store, robbed the store, and the reason we couldn't find him is because he went back to the crack house to pay for his crack. He actually went back to pay for his crack that he had bought on credit.
He understands relationships.
He understands relationships, exactly.
Burn bridges.
Right, yeah. So, it was that big crack epidemic back during that time, and like I said, you had more to do than shake a stick at when, break-ins, this, that, the other, and it was just...
So what was the total length of peace officer time? What was your total time?
3 years.
3 years.
A little over 3 years. Because at 3 years, I sat here and I said, this job's killing me. I mean, it's really killing me. My last case I worked, 3 crackheads had duct taped this deaf mute behind his back and left him for dead. He'd been there for 3 days. And that was pretty much one of the last cases I worked, and that was kind of like what sealed the case. But anyway, at 3 years, I was sitting here. I said, look, I had a 4-year plan. I'm like, this job's killing me right here. I can't do it anymore. I've seen some stuff that can't swallow anymore, from whatever, whether it be who you're working with on the streets or whatever.
It's too much.
It's just too much. I can't swallow this anymore. I'd rather go back into service where it's a little bit more simpler,
Where people are more civilized.
Right, where they're more civilized over here because where they're coming from, So I said, well, okay, I'm going to go back into service. And so I did. And like I said, I had a plan. So I went, I knew I was going to go airborne. I knew I wanted to be special operations. I knew I wanted to be special forces. And I wanted to just go to the top.
In the Army.
In the Army.
So you left the Navy.
Well, because a smarter man, I don't want to say smarter man, but I thought analytical, okay? This time I thought analytical because, if you go in the Navy and you want to be SEAL and you don't make it, you're stuck on a boat floating, you know what I mean? So I said, well, let's take this in gradual steps in the Army. I'd be happy being in the infantry, just a ground pounder. And, hey, I'd be happy jumping out of airplanes. And guess what? I'd even be happy being a Ranger, and then I'd be happy being, Special Forces, and, let's keep on going.
Is a Ranger not Special Forces?
It is. It is.
Okay.
It's
a stepping stone type process?
Actually, I'll get more into it in a minute, but it's really not a stepping stone. It's everybody has just a different job. You really work together, and really one's no better than the other.
As far as special forces units go, or from where they come from, Marines, Army, Navy, you're saying in that aspect?
I'm talking about an aspect, because now we're working together. Now you've got Navy SEALs working with Delta, working with Special Forces, working with EODs, and, all various...
Oh, they all have their own jobs. Like Delta is for, like, terrorism type stuff, right? And SEALs have their specific job, and a Ranger has their specific job. So you're saying you pick your Special Forces based on your personal interest of what do you want to end up doing?
Well, I did, but I just wanted to, I just knew I would be happy anywhere along this step. Okay, I didn't know I was just going to get so far. But I was planning. If anything happened, break a leg, this, that, whatever.
I guess that's a possibility. You're jumping out of planes,
right? I mean, because when I went in, I went straight into Ranger Battalion. I did, which is considered special operations. But like I said, when you said what's the difference, well, the Ranger job is a lot different than the Green Beret or the Delta or that. If you look at Black Hawk Down, we've changed a lot since then. But if you look at the jobs back then, well, mainly Ranger Battalion was the outer perimeter and the security for Delta Force. But you're one cohesion working together. One's no better really than the other.
Just focusing on different things.
Right, because you may have this country boy over here that's a Ranger that shot his whole life tougher than nails and all this other stuff, and just because he's not a Delta operator, seasoned, or he may have wanted to stay in Ranger Battalion.
Right.
You don't know. I mean, you just don't know what a guy wants. And when you talk about going Special Forces, I'm sitting here at my E5 board. I'm not going to mention Sergeant Major's name, but he went kind of crazy in the room because I'm a Ranger at the time, and I'm leaving. I've got to do my E5 board in Ranger Battalion, but I'm leaving the family. Man, he comes in throwing water, and this is a formal event, supposedly, right? Smadge here is my workout partner in the gym as well. He knows what I'm doing, but he's got to put on a show that he's pissed off, and they don't want to, they almost want to cry, but they can't cry. They become your family, and it's, it's a real, it's just a different kind of brotherhood, and when you're leaving them, I believe I can hear him now. You want to leave your family, you want to go hand out bread, be a humanitarian, but I'm glad for that humanitarian aspect. Or I wouldn't be right where I'm at here today, I would just be like, Mongo kill, Mongo fight, Mongo do this. Mongo do nothing good for the world, Then, I spent my 18 months in Ranger Battalion, and then I went to Special Forces right away. It got that Mongo kill out of me, really, from Ranger Battalion. Like I said, you have a job. When you have to do direct action, you have to do it.
Right.
But you have a humanitarian side of you, and it's a balance. A Special Forces, Green Beret is a unique individual. You have a language. You're taught to go into this culture and not pretty much decimate their culture. And, when you come to, a famous poem by Tecumseh, which they do it in Act of Valor, is respect every man and woman and child's religion and their beliefs, because you're going to see a lot of those, around the world. And you're going to see all types of religions and all this, but you're going to see the beauty in everything too, of what you're bringing to these people. Even though you're there for a mission, which may be, go out and kill the enemy, you're also building bridges. I mean, really building bridges. You're cleaning the water.
Infrastructure.
You're building their infrastructure. You're taking the little red Toyota Hilux to town, getting food because you're way the hell out, you know what I mean? And you're getting food, but you're coming back with bags and bags of candy. You're in big red Toyota truck with an American flag on it, and you're on this desolate road headed up to where you're supposed to be. Nobody knows where you're at. And here come these kids out of nowhere. Just out of nowhere.
Hearts and minds, right?
Hearts and minds, man. And you're just throwing it, and a lot of and some of my teammates were like, man, you're going to probably kill some of these kids. You know what you're doing for them, and, you're probably creating gum disease and this and that. I said, man, some of these kids probably would never have ever got to experience a Tootsie Pop or a Blow Pop if that little red Toyota truck hadn't come through here throwing out, I don't care if they got, what I mean?
Yeah.
They might have an IED, they might have this, they might have that. I guess that's just a chance you're willing to take sometimes, because we really develop a sixth sense. We watch each other's back. But when you're around the world and you can look at a child's innocent. But it depends on where in the world you're at.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of child killers out there.
There are. I mean, because when you're sitting here talking about a 12-year-old coming at you, jacked up on khat, which is an opiate-based, in Africa, but you might as well say it's opium. But when you've got a 12-year-old jacked up on khat with an AK-47 or a machete, he's no longer, and he's really no longer human anymore, because he's actually been taken in by pretty much gangs and been programmed and drugged and desensitized, and sometimes even had to kill a family member, kill or be killed. That's just how ruthless the world is, and a lot of the world, against the big, the big military machine, and all that. But I see as what we come in, we try to repair as much as we can. You know what I mean? It's not all about destruction and damnation and kill it and, be done with it. A lot of it is win the hearts and minds, because the situation they're in is just totally shitty. You know what I mean? They're running around being chased with a machete or that, or being forced into child prostitution. Child labor, everything with the children. And that's the part when you go around the world where you really see children and you can see that innocence. And,
Lost.
Some of them, like I said, when it's lost, but it brings you joy to travel around the world and to see that there's still innocence around the world in the children's eyes.
How long did you stay the second time in?
The second time in, I went in 97. And November 2001, I'd already done several deployments, but in 2001 in Nigeria, concocted this, they want to say spinal meningitis, we'll never really know. Pretty much took me out of the game.
What is that exactly?
Spinal meningitis.
Yeah. Is this a bacterial, viral thing?
It's a bacterial, viral thing. And you know what? The symptoms, they said that the reason it was spinal meningitis is because your brain swells.
So this is something you contracted while in a foreign country?
Right. Nigeria, Africa. The country of Nigeria in Africa. And pretty much they medical evacuated me from the camp I was at, just way out in the boonies, to another camp. Then they flew me into Lagos, which was the capital. And from there I went to Longstuhl, Germany, which is the medical facility there in Longstuhl. And they couldn't figure out what to do with me because they couldn't help me. I mean, I was in pain. It was just crazy because it felt like my brain was just popping out of my head at all times.
There's no way to relieve that pressure.
There was no way to relieve it. So I dealt with, and here they're telling me, drink lots of caffeine, and I'm, doing these tons of meds, just this, that, and the other, chewing on Percocets, and I mean, just trying to, deal with the pain. And then from Longstuhl, they sent me to Walter Reed, spent time there, and then I rejoined my team back at Fort Bragg, and I was still in the medical process. Oh, actually, this was before 9/11. This is, part of the whole thing, and here I was, pretty much coming off of, a deathbed, and 9/11 happened. And I'm actually, they were going to medical me out of the military. All right. And I had already applied for all these jobs. U.S. Marshal, Federal Air Marshal, a DOE courier, which is, works for the Department of Energy. All these federal jobs, which I was going to make a lot more money than I was making in the military. And, get some more benefits. And, I just needed some R&R, some rest and relaxation on something I thought was going to be more cush. I thought it was going to be. I had put in for all these jobs. Well, 9/11 happened. I didn't know there's this thing called stop loss where I couldn't get out. So they were going to medical me out, but I said no, because I don't want to be medicaled out, because I'm going to get out here in November, because that's my ETS date, when I was supposed to get out. And I'm like, so no, thank you, because you're going to actually hold me in a year longer, and I'd rather go ahead and start my federal job and be on medical hold and have to be, treated like a baby and all this. So, but then when the stop loss came into effect, they're like, well, you got to stay 6 more months. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. What about that medical thing? Well, went out the door. So spent 6 more months in the Army. And then I went over to the Federal Air Marshal job, which, the training, I went through all the training of that. And I did that job for a while. And I had some pretty high profile flights.
So how long did you do that?
Well, I started in 2002, April 2002, and then I actually medical retired in late 2005. The thing is that job was just so stressful, so much flying time, so much work, so much drinking. I mean, really, that was it. If you actually look at it, the statistics, dentists are number one for suicide, all right? Let's take that little small group over there called air marshals, because we're a small group. It really is not even worth it, but national studies, but we've done there's studies within the organization where it's the highest suicide rate. Why not? You fly all day, you're this, and a lot of guys and girls, when they hit the ground, the first thing they want to do is go hit the booze. I didn't. I wanted to stay in shape. I wanted to go hit the gym. I didn't know if tomorrow I was going to sit here and, meet my maker or what. I wanted to be right for the job, but I did drink a lot during that time. Drinking during that, even though I was trying to stay healthy, the amount of drinking I did, not only my health, but, sitting here and maybe I got a DUI while I was a federal agent. And it's just, it's just troublesome. But what are you going to do? Because you can't smoke, weed or any of this, right?
But you were not a consumer prior to this.
Of weed?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Not
So
at
it
all.
wasn't an option you were like looking for. You weren't actually saying, "Hey, why can't I smoke?" You were not involved at all.
Not at all. I'm a federal agent. I don't like that. You know?
Right.
But
and you started the military at a young age. I'm going to assume most of your life you have not engaged in it just based on your timeline.
Right. But while I was an air marshal, interesting story. I don't mind telling it now. I'm actually in Amsterdam, okay? I'm an air marshal, but when you leave and you go out, you're no longer an air marshal until you get back on the plane.
Oh, okay. That's when you're protected.
Right.
Anything you do off the plane's on you.
Right. Well, sort of, you know. So anyway, I'm in Amsterdam, and I'm at a pub. And I'm sitting here drinking a beer, and there's this beautiful door, okay, and it's carved out of eagle that, you know, protrudes out.
Right.
And I'm sitting here, and this thing just gets more and more interesting. And I don't know. I'm just like, wow, look at that door, you know, wow. And a Hell's Angels convention was going on at the time. So all the Hell's Angels were there from Germany, from all over. They were there. So I'm sitting here looking at this door, and this big mammoth of a man hits me, and he's like, smoke. And he's handing me a joint, and I'm like, nah, I'm good. And he hits me again, smoke. And I look at him, I look back, damn, if it ain't the damn president of the chapter of the Hells Angels of Amsterdam, right?
Yeah, turn him down.
I look down and I look at it. And I'm like, how do I do this? I said, look, man, you don't understand this. I'm a federal agent. He said, look around, you stupid. I looked around, all the smoke. He said, smoke. I said, okay, that's common sense enough. And this is going to make for a good story later on in life.
This was your first time getting high or just the first time since teenager?
Well, you got to understand, since teenager, you know, but that high was really not anything, you know, because I was drinking so much, and it
didn't affect you solely.
It didn't affect me solely because I was a boozer.
Yeah.
I drowned everything with booze.
Is that something that started after leaving the service?
What's that? The booze?
The drinking?
Yeah. It was the stress. Yeah, I didn't drink that much when I was in the service. We drank somewhat. Pretty much moderate. But then when it came to having the job as an air marshal, hell, we planned it out. Where can we get free drinks? Where's this free drinks? Where is this? We had it mapped out of where to go get free booze after you landed. Where to go get free booze.
Yeah.
Which, like I said, was really detrimental to my health. My health was just going down. The spinal meningitis was kicking back in. I was having headaches and migraines all the time. Throwing meds down, whether it be Percocets, whether it be migraine medication, whether it be this, whether it be that, and I was combining all that crap with the booze, But I was in such pain, whether it be because I was in I was in a helicopter crash and I messed my back up, and just all kind of stuff. The rucking, just the damage that I'd done on my body had just come to a halt, to where I just really couldn't probably function anymore. I was in such pain and just such misery that I just couldn't function anymore.
Can I ask, were you suffering from any PTSD from being in the service at all?
My definition is, I'm diagnosed with PTSD, of course, all right? But
I would assume most anybody that comes back from active duty is going to have...
If you're in a car wreck, it's PTSD.
That's true.
Okay, if you watch somebody out here get decapitated,
I hope not.
some weird accident, okay? If you see it, that's PTSD,
right, it's a traumatic experience.
Right, but we don't... Now, I hate that label, like some people call it PTS or whatever.
Right.
I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But that's what my organization is about, is getting rid of that stigma, okay? Just get rid of that, okay? All that, what my organization is really about is taking care of special operations soldiers, whether it be Rangers, SEALs, this and that.
Right.
Because we're a close-knit community, that we have resources within our community that can pretty much, if somebody can't help out over here, somebody can over here. And we can pretty much make a difference within the special operations community, to where if we try to do all veterans, we're taking on too big of a project. It's just too big of a project. So we know if we can concentrate with that, then that's a start. You'll look at after I retired, okay? I sat here, came out of my third divorce. I was a boozer, pills. I went to the VA, and I'm a paramedic, okay? I got some common sense to me, but I wasn't using it.
Right.
Whatever they told me to pop pills, I was doing it. Some of it, if you read the warnings back then, this will kill you if combined with this. It didn't care. I didn't care. I was popping them in just to get some peace, okay? Well, I had sat here and then retired, and pretty much on all, I had to have some surgeries and all this shit done. So they medical retired me. I went back for my benefits with the military. That was a long, lengthy process. I got married again during this period, but I had my son. This is when I was doing, the martial arts and all this. And, I gathered peace, and, and what I always came out with a slogan, I had always worked for me with my nonprofit. And if we could ever do it out of some, all these vast monies of the industry of cannabis, bring forward, we had GAMIC. And that was my slogan, GAMIC. And what did that mean? Group therapy. Well, if you got to call your buddy and talk about it. I don't mean sit down by a group. Call a buddy, call a ranger buddy, call a brother. GAMIC. Then you had acupuncture, because I felt that acupuncture had helped me. And then you had martial arts and massage. And, of course, I was adding 2 more M's to that, MMJ, and yoga and chiropractic. I found that all those therapies right there, combined with, a healthy lifestyle, sit here and, that's why you asked me how I look 45 and, you said 35.
Yeah.
It's because of that. What I had done, and when you want to talk about marijuana, weed, cannabis, whatever anybody wants to call it, wherever you're at in the United States, I was sitting here and I had pretty much quit the drugs and everything, but I was still just on edge. I had gotten rid of all the VA drugs, and I was weaning off of them. I'd weaned off of the booze, everything, okay? And I'm still just, something's not right. And I think I was in the dojo or somewhere with my son one day, and he did something that was just, stupid kid stuff. And I caught myself just going pretty much demonic. And I'm like, I looked at myself in the mirror and I'm like, you got a problem.
Losing some self-control.
I said, yeah, you got a problem. Yeah. Something is wrong here. You got a problem, and you need to figure out what it is. You've got this martial arts stuff going on. You're doing yoga. You're in shape. You're healthy as an ox, but you're still pissed off about something. You're still pissed. Something's going wrong with your circuit. Something's not firing right. So I had a client at the time, and he was a high school buddy because I'd moved back to my hometown. And I was training him in the dojo one day, and I'm like, hey, man, can you get me some of that weed? And he looked at me. He's like, are you sure? You serious? I said, yeah. I said, at this point, I'm willing to try anything. And so he brings me some. I don't have shit to smoke it off of. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know what to do with this. I don't even know how to roll. I don't have this. Okay, you brought me some weed. What do I do with it? Now funny. I know there's tons of ways to do with it, but what do I do with it? So I run in, and I had a pretty nice farm at the time. Every tool you could probably think of. I could probably come up with something better, but I was so desperate to figure out if this was going to help me or not. I didn't care. I actually went and grabbed a socket, a lig, one of those big, long
light,
sockets, right? And I took some screening. The screen you put on windows is plastic. It's plastic, right? It's not metal screen. Yeah. Put a plastic screen in there, put some on it, lit it.
Smoked right through the socket.
Smoked right through the socket.
Yeah.
And you know what I said to myself? Peace. I did. Circle. I said, wow. I realized, at this point in my life, back then I didn't know what was going on. I'm just like, wow, peace. What's this all about? But now I realize that, it gave me another tool in my bag with all this other stuff that made me healthy, This was another tool in my bag, but this was kind of a magical tool.
Right.
It sit here and it was like, okay, this shit's bad.
What year was this?
This would have been, I've been smoking now for about 10 years. I hit it for 3 years.
2005-ish?
2005-ish.
When you finished the Air Marshal service, more or
right,
less.
yeah.
Okay.
And like I said, I was hiding it every which way but possible.
Right.
My family didn't even know it. They just probably thought I was pleasant and taking my VA meds. I wasn't taking them at all. They was being stashed away, And I just found out it did. It's another tool in my bag that I could use. And for 2.5 years, my family didn't know.
Yeah.
My wife didn't know. Come on, I'm a special ops soldier, I mean, I was sitting here, how do I hide this from everybody? Because I need this, and people aren't going to accept it.
Yeah.
So back 2005, I was ordering the vapors, it looked like a screwdriver. I was doing construction and all this other stuff. I got this big thing with a little hose on it. I'm running around in South Carolina vaping all the time in 2005, vaping all the time. It tasted like peanuts, and I'd rather taste, rather taste good green instead of peanuts. And then nobody called me.
Did you feel paranoia from that hiding it?
No.
No? Okay.
No, not with Mary Jane.
Because that's where I would assume people, when people talk about their paranoia,
right.
It's usually people who don't smoke who are paranoid about the fact of smoking. They make themselves paranoid. So if you were trying to hide it from your family, I'm just wondering if that creeped in a little bit. That
the paranoia, it probably did, of, the stigma of...
Right, having to look somebody in the eye and be like, oh man, are they looking at me?
Are they looking
back
it'd
to
be funny to know I'm high. Well, you know what? Sometimes we smoke a
Right
little
back
bit.
in high school again. Yeah.
Things would get a little, it'd get a little bit too bad, like at a family gathering or something on my farm, and I would just have to escape, and I would come back all red-eyed and everything. But you know what? I could deal with everybody, and they would be like, "Are you on something?" And I'm like, "I am. That's good VA meds today, or whatever." It really didn't matter. But like I said, 2.5 years into it, nobody knew it. They may have suspected it,
right,
and tried to catch me all the time, but nobody knew it. My mother-in-law at the time was dying of cancer. I wanted her to have peace before she died. No matter if I didn't get along with her, I wanted her to have peace. And I struggled with it. Am I going to come out of the closet and even mention this? What are the risks and what are not? And I didn't particularly like her too much either. Just to be honest, because she was so miserable in life. I wanted her to experience some peace before she passed on. So sitting in the living room one day, I sit here with, my son's mom, and I'm like, I got something to confess to you. What? And she was just assuming, 1,000 girls, 2,000, I've been cheating on you and all this, and I was like, no, I've been smoking Mary Jane for, 2.5 years, and I'd like for your mother to have, man, I couldn't even get it out of my mouth. It was
Shut
chaos.
down.
It was just, how could you? And it's like, oh my God. And from that moment on, my life's been hell, essentially, for taking up for my stand, where I stand with cannabis. But at this point in my life, I don't give a shit anymore. I'm here in Denver. I'm legal. I'm not in South Carolina where people are begging me to come back to.
Right.
Yeah, we love you. No, you don't.
So the last 8-10 years has been on that path pretty much since you
Right.
kind of came out of the air marshals. And then transition into your cannabis use. That's kind of the path you've been on up to
Right.
current date.
Right. So if you want to see where my business is, I see what I want to do is I see the peace that it gave me. And I know the stigma that's involved. I've been through it. So what I want to do is take that ground platform of what I've been through so others don't have to go through that. And if you can sit here with that platform, and like I said, we got all these businesses going on over here.
Yeah.
But at the end state, okay, it's security over here. It's whatever. $zillion industry. But at the end of the day, if we can sit here and save 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get rid of the stigma, to bust out, to, to just say, I don't care anymore. I want self-help. I don't care what you guys say about, this being illegal and this and that and that. It helps me as far as my health goes, because I'm not a stoner that sits around all day and plays PlayStation or sits here and, cool, man. But can I do that? Do I do that? Of course. I'd love to do that all the time. But how would I help others? How would I get this message out that I'm doing right now if that's all I did? If I just sat out here on the mountain with the dog and loving life, cooking beans on the grill, fire, this, that. I've got everything I need. Nobody's bothering me. And if I want to take a phone call, I can. If I don't, I don't have to. That's the life. But what am I doing for others there?
Right.
I'm becoming a hermit, or I'm becoming a leprechaun. I'm taking this pot of gold, my piece, and I'm running off with it. And I'm not sharing it with others, And, the end state, do I want to be like a $1 billion nonprofit? I don't want to be one of these people that, I want us to work for it and have relationships in the industry with the top people, with who do know what they're talking about.
Right.
And, have done the research. They're not goons. They're not coming over from Philip Morris. They're not coming over from pharmaceuticals. They're not this. They spent their whole life in this business because they believe in it like I believe in it. And that's the type of relationships that I want to build. And part of the reason of coming to Colorado is where better to start, man, than Colorado. So that's kind of like why I've landed here. I'm going to live here. I'm going to be a Coloridian. Is that what we say? Coloridian?
Coloradan, I think we say.
Yeah. Well, I'm a South Carolinian, so that's backwards.
Right.
That's backwards thinking right there. I'm going to be a Coloridian.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Colorado.
Coloradian. All right.
Excellent, man. We've been talking for an hour, and I think that's a great way to kind of bring us back around to where we started, of having a little bit of background on who you are and what you're going to bring to the table. So what we need to do now is follow up with you in a few months when you've had a chance to take some of these concepts and everything that's out there, formalize them, get them out there, have you come back on so we can give people a specific place to go to check you out, some type of service or product or something to contribute to revenues so you can help others.
We do have that. We actually have a product right now. It's on the line. It's patented. whatever. It's made out of hemp. It's on the assembly line right now. And like I said, with my business partners, you can go, with Jeff Patch Adams, this is our security side, the training side, and all that other good side. You can go www.sofast.com. And then when you want to look at the product, which we've got made out of hemp, which is going to be in the cannabis industry, which today is, it should have been off the line yesterday. I haven't got it.
It is 21st.
Right. It should have been Thursday that the final steps were going through with this product, which technology hadn't been approved since 1946. And it was pine, and the product was pine and cedar was what it's being used with, and we're using hemp. Why shouldn't we be using hemp?
For what end product? What's the
end product's going to be, I don't want to, like I said, it's, even though it's patented and trademarked, it's essentially filtration in the industry, replacing old with new with hemp products, which we understand once we get our foot in the door with one, we know how to go in and take funds and sit here and build relationships with the industry as far as that goes. On that aspect of the product, you can check out www.hip2behemp.com, which that's Armando Ramos, so you can get in touch with him through that. You can get in touch with Jeff Patch Adams through www.sofast.com. And the way people can contact me is I operate mainly off of LinkedIn somewhat. Now,
that's where I found you.
Unless I'm marketing something. Now, when I market something for anybody, which we've explored that aspect too, because we're psychological, people, psyops. We can do it. But when I look at that aspect, we use Facebook, Google, Twitter, Instagram, there's just tons of free.
Look for you under your name.
Right, but you can look for me under LinkedIn, or if you want to contact me personally, Preston Crawford at Outlook.com. Real easy.
Excellent.
So,
there you go, man. That was a great introduction to you and your background. Learning about what I believe to be a lot of patients, especially here in Colorado, also coming from military backgrounds. So I look forward to seeing the next few months as you develop this, and you can come back on and talk more about it as things get developed, and have an open door. Come back on and let us know how you're helping people and changing the world.
All right.
Thank you very much. That's all I got for you this week, Cannapreneurs. Thank you for listening in, and thank you to everybody that's been supporting this community over the years. Keep following us after the show on all the social media, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Massroots. We're out there. You can find us just about anywhere, even YouTube. So make sure to come back next week and join us for another show where we'll be discussing more topics, interviewing more guests, and this is getting bigger because of you. We'll see you next week.